Hassan, you're recognized for your questions.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank you and Senator Portman for holding this hearing, and a special thank you to all of our nominees and to your families for being willing to take on these important positions. Mr. Hooks, I want to start with a question to you. Our new bipartisan infrastructure law includes a provision that I developed to create a new state and local cybersecurity grant program. FEMA will administer the program, drawing on subject matter expertise from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, otherwise known as CISA. Mr. Hooks, if confirmed as Deputy Administrator, what steps will you take to ensure that this grant funding will quickly and effectively get to entities that need it, including in my state of New Hampshire?
Thank you, Senator Hassan. Cybersecurity and our critical infrastructure are extremely important, and as we face challenges both domestically and internationally. If confirmed, I look forward to working specifically within FEMA, but also external to FEMA, with our sister agency at CISA and with the broader department at DHS, along with our local and state partners, to fully implement the authorizations that are carried forward. I look forward to familiarizing myself particularly with the particular nuances of it and understanding full congressional intent. That would be one of the first things that I always look to do in evaluating a program and how we should roll it out, and then seeing how I can execute on the partnerships that are needed to address this. I can't really call it an emerging threat anymore. It's been with us, but it is this persistent threat that's extremely important to the safety of our nation.
Well, I appreciate that very much. You know, even in a small state like New Hampshire, we're seeing cyber attacks at various levels against various entities, and really look forward to working with you to strengthen our resources here and really strengthen our cyber defenses. Ms. Blatchford, the federal government's reliance on outdated and obsolete technology harms our ability to deliver services to the American people, threatens our cybersecurity, and also drives wasteful spending. One way to curb wasteful spending on these old systems is through better cooperation and communication between agency chief information officers and chief financial officers to ensure that there's a coordinated process for determining technology needs and acquisition processes. How can the Office of Federal Financial Management, under your leadership, work to improve cooperation and communication between chief information officers and chief financial officers to save taxpayer dollars?
Thank you, Senator. It's an important question, and I appreciate it. I have seen in my time in government and the nonprofit sector that is really true. Those legacy systems pose enormous risks to effective service delivery, good customer experience, and of course, to security. So, as you know, OFFM plays a lead role in bringing together the CFOs from different agencies. And so I would imagine leaning into that role to really elevate this issue in importance. It is my understanding as well that that interagency role plays an important part of it is busting silos, getting people to communicate, working through these issues. And so based on my experience doing that in the task force and other contexts, would really want to lean in and do that. I also think the partnership across OMB and across the executive branch is going to be critical because, as you said, it's not just the CFOs, it's also the CIOs. And so that synergy and that relationship is something I would work with the CFO Council and other CFO colleagues to address.
That's great. And I would just add that I think one of the things that the CFO community needs to work with with the chief information officers is understanding the length of time it can take to modernize technology this way. And we really have to make sure that our financial systems are working in a way that really can accommodate long-term planning and change. So I look forward to further working with you on that. To Mr. Hooks, I want to go back to a different issue at FEMA because the agency has struggled with serious problems relating to sexual harassment of its employees. A 2020 survey conducted by the RAND Corporation found that approximately 20% of FEMA employees reported experiencing sexual harassment at the agency. If confirmed as deputy, what steps would you take to combat sexual harassment at FEMA?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. As I stated earlier, I believe that in order for any agency or department to be successful, you have to have great investment in the individuals where they can thrive in a culture of excellence so that they feel that they are part of it and they have the opportunities. that translates very cleanly over into addressing any issues of sexual harassment. I am up to the challenge, if confirmed, to meet that issue head on. There is absolutely no place in any part of society for anyone to be made feel less than and moving forward when they're trying to serve their country or carrying out any other job. I have a history of, through my work both in the SBI and then as secretary, of ensuring that we have a workforce that is valued, that women in particular have those opportunities. And as the Secretary of Public Safety, had one of the most incredible workforce dynamics in a field that's generally dominated by male professionals. Then that general counsel and chief deputy secretaries were females, and it set the tone. And so I would lead by example, and I've had a brief discussion with Administrator Criswell. She and I are firmly on the same ground of moving forward to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to thrive and work in a culture of excellence at FEMA, and that sexual harassment will not be tolerated to any degree.
Well, thank you for that commitment. I really appreciate it. Now, I want to turn to Mr. Kubayanda because, sir, in its attempts to become more financially stable, the U.S. Postal Service proposed delaying delivery times for first-class packages, commonly used by pharmacies and banks, for example, to send lightweight products inexpensively. These delays would affect roughly a third of first-class package volume and cause delays on essential items that people in my state of New Hampshire certainly rely on. In September, the Postal Regulatory Commission issued an advisory opinion on this proposed change and found that the Postal Service's proposal to delay service would not substantially affect its overall financial condition, contrary to the stated goals of the proposal. What options or alternatives do you think the Postal Service could instead pursue to improve its financial condition without compromising service?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I think that the Commission has issued 2 advisory opinions on attempts to change service standards, and I think both reached that conclusion that the savings on offer were meager compared to what the Postal Service hopes to achieve. I think that the Postal Service has a number of steps they can take, including modernizing, and I think some of these steps to cut costs over time might require some upfront investment. For example, modernization of the vehicle fleet. Yeah. They have an extremely old vehicle fleet with its poor quality, and they've been known to catch on fire, and then also the efficiency is very low. So I think that's something where upfront investment and capital investment can lead to some savings down the line. I think there are, we just approved a new rate-making system for the Postal Service, and I think that it's an opportunity to kind of stabilize postal finances, or at least move the ball forward and improve postal finances. So I think that's something they can capitalize on. And I think long-term, I think there are opportunities for efficiency through information technology, reconsidering how to utilize their extensive network of physical facilities to distribute mail more efficiently. And I think one of the things that we're launching is a data analytics group to look at issues within the postal network, including whether it's aligned in the most efficient manner, and looking at possible bottlenecks and pinch points within that network where the Postal Service might stand to improve. And so I think there are opportunities for incremental improvements over time.
Thank you very much. I realize we've gone over time, Mr. Chair, so I appreciate the extra time. I look forward to working with you on these issues. Thank you.